Hey everyone, this is Christopher, and I wanted to show you guys just a quick lesson on how to play my arrangement of Pictures of You by The Cure. The tuning of this song is basically an open G tuning, but with a C on the 6th string, on the lowest string. So we've got a C, a G on the 5th string, a D on the 4th string, a G on the 3rd string, a B on the 2nd string, and then a D on the 1st string, high string. So our chords are basically G, it's just open. Now you want to strum that from the 5th string. I bring my thumb up just to casually mute it because there's a lot of rhythm going on there and I don't want to have to think about just strumming from the 5th string. So then the next chord is a C, okay? And what we want to do there is you just finger that with your first finger on the 1st fret of the B string and your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. And then now you can let that low C come in, which is the reason that I use it, because it gives it a nice full sound when you go to the 4 chord, the C chord. Now during the verses when they're singing, I like to play a G over C, which I do not include the low string there. And then when I'm playing the riff in between the verses, then I get the C in there. We'll go over the riff here in a second. So we've got those 2 chords. Later in the song, when it gets to the, there's kind of a couple of bridge sections in this song. So the first bridge, if only I had the right words, that section, we go to a D. So this is kind of ends up being like more of a D sus kind of a sound. There's a couple different ways you can play D out of this tuning. The 2nd fret on the 6th and 5th string, finger with my middle and ring finger. And then I add my pinky on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So you get this kind of a sus sound. You can also do a bar on the 2nd fret and then play this shape, which is kind of like the C shape but slid up, which kind of makes sense because you get your 5 chord with the D. Now there, you kind of don't really want to strum the top string, but it doesn't sound bad, it just sometimes is an unneeded sus note. So that for that section, I'm playing If Only I'd Thought of the Right Words, down to the C, the D, would have held on to your heart. Okay, and then the last bridge section is the section where, you know, there's nothing in the world I ever wanted more. So that's a G. So make sure you mute the low string. And then we've got an A minor. So that looks very much, actually not unlike a regular A minor, except you need to put your root note here on the 5th string, 2nd fret. So it ends up looking like this shape. And then the next chord is a B minor. So you just slide that up 2 frets. And then the last chord in that sequence is a C. So you can play it here like we've been doing, or from the B minor you can just slide these 2 notes up here, leave an open G, and then put your pinky on the 5th fret of the B string and include the low string. And you kind of get that add 9 in there if you play the high string, which sounds pretty cool. So those chords are. Now I chose to open this demonstration that I did a little bit like the original sounds. I didn't do this on my original video, but I've since kind of morphed it into the way I play it now. So it's kind of a. So you're on the 4th fret of the low string to the 2nd fret of the 5th string, hammer onto the 4th string, and then drop down to that 2nd fret of the low string, and then the open 5th string. And do that through, you know, as many times as you want to do that, and then you kind of get into the main. I do a little palm mute on my right hand, and basically the strum is kind of a cha 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 cha, and I kind of hammer on that C over G, and again you want to keep this low 6th string muted. Now the great thing about this song is, like I said, you can play a bunch of different kind of riffs. Now a couple of things that I put in my arrangement are, I do a little harmonic thing. Now that can be a little tricky because you want to do an upstroke on that harmonic, and then you can kind of hit that root G with the harmonic still ringing. Then I have put in my arrangement sort of what I'm kind of modeling after the main riff in the song. Something like that. You're on the 4th string on the 7th fret, 5th fret, and then open. Then you're going to, another cool thing about this tuning is that you have octaves right here between the 5th string and the 3rd string. So you can use that to your advantage in that situation. So here's where the rhythm of the song kind of comes in. Now, I like to think of this type of a song as you're playing lead and rhythm sort of at the same time. So, and that, the open tuning really lends itself to that very well, because you can kind of strum as you're playing. Instead of individually picking notes, you just kind of strum through the notes, and with some selective muting, it works out pretty well. So what I do on this is, here comes the main riff. So basically, I'm kind of strumming through this. And then I'm dropping in my C on the. But again, I'm just kind of strumming through this passage. I'm not really picking the notes. And again, you can kind of take that riff. A couple of times I did some things like this. So when we get to the verse, we are basically just strumming this. Again with a little bit of palm mute. I've been looking so long at these pictures of you that I almost believed they were real. So long with my pictures of you that I almost believe that the pictures are all I can. So that main riff shows up throughout the song. It's after the first verse, after the third verse, after the fifth verse, and then after the first bridge and the sixth verse, and then at the end of the song. So it shows up quite a bit in there, so you can kind of do a lot of variations, kind of change it up a little bit if you want to. So it does that up until we get to the first bridge section, which I kind of touched on earlier. And there we've got the D chord, the 5 chord. If only I'd thought of the right words. And you can play it that way. You can play the sus. I kind of like that one. It's more open sounding. If only I'd thought of the right words, I wouldn't be breaking apart all my pictures of you. And then it goes back to the main riff. So we do that, and then there's the kind of the talking / verse there. And then it ends up with another kind of bridge section. There was nothing in the world that I ever wanted more than to feel you deep in my heart. There was nothing in the world that I ever wanted more than never feel the breaking apart of my pictures of you. Okay, so that's pretty much the whole song. I'm going to do another playthrough of the song right now. Feel free to play along if you'd like to. See you down the road. Thanks. You finally found all of your get lost in the cold. You were always so lost in the dark. Remembering you, now you used to be. Slow drown you were angels, so much more than everything. Hold on, last time, slip away quietly. Open my eyes, but I'll never see anything. If only I'd thought of the right words, I could have held on to your heart. If only I'd thought of the right words, I wouldn't be breaking apart all my pictures of you. Looking so long at these pictures of you, never hold on to your heart. Looking for